The first mistake I made was showing up to the gala alone. The second was locking eyes with him. And the third? Letting him slide an arm around my waist as though I belonged to him. I wasn't supposed to be noticed. Not in a room filled with Manhattan's wealthiest patrons, crystal chandeliers, and a silent auction of art pieces that cost more than my entire apartment building. I was just a +1 who got ditched. Me friend bailed last minute, leaving me stranded in a tux I couldn't afford, holding a drink I didn't even like. I figured I'd smile, clap for the speeches, and leave early. But then Ethan Carter happened. He wasn't the host. That was his perfect, pristine brother, Daniel, who was busy shaking hands and charming donors. Ethan was the opposite. Magnetic in a way that made you nervous to breathe too deeply around him. His tux hung on him like it was tailored by sin itself, his smirk carrying the arrogance of someone who knew he didn't need to try. And somehow, for reasons I still don't understand, he zeroed in on me like a hawk. "Where the hell have you been?" he whispered in my ear, voice smooth and accusing. His hand slid to the small of my back before I could protest. "You're late." I choked on my champagne. "Excuse me?" The corner of his mouth curved. "Don't play coy. People are watching. Just go with it." And before I could think, before I could even breathe, I was no longer a wallflower at a charity gala. I was Ethan Carter's supposed date. The lie grew faster than I could stop it. Every curious glance turned into assumption. Every murmured whisper confirmed it. I was the mystery man on Ethan's arm. He didn't correct anyone. Hell, he encouraged it, introducing me to donors, brushing his fingers against mine when he handed me a glass, leaning close enough that I could smell the faint scent of his cologne. Something dark and expensive. I should have hated it. I should have pulled away. Instead, I played along. Maybe it was the champagne, or maybe it was the way his gaze softened when no one else was looking. Like the act wasn't entirely an act. "You don't know what you've just gotten yourself into," I muttered during a lull in conversation. As he guided me toward the balcony for air, his smile turned sharp. "Maybe you don't know what you've gotten yourself into." There was a warning in his tone, but also something else. A challenge. The night only unraveled further. Daniel eventually noticed, his perfect smile faltering when his eyes landed on us. The tension between the brothers was thick enough to choke on, though no one else seemed to notice. I stood there like a pawn in a game I didn't understand, Ethan's hand firm on my shoulder as if daring Daniel to say something. Later, after the last toast and the last photo op, I found myself outside the Grand Hotel, New York air sharp in my lungs. I should have called a cab. I should have walked away. But Ethan was there, leaning against a black car, cigarette dangling from his fingers, eyes glinting in the dim light. He didn't look untouchable anymore. He looked tired, human. "You hate me already?" he said, exhaling smoke. I shoved my hands in my pockets. "I don't even know you." "Exactly." He flicked the cigarette to the ground, crushing it beneath his shoe. Then he looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time all night his bravado slipped. "But you didn't pull away. You let me pretend." And just like that, I realized the performance wasn't just for the crowd. It was for him. What followed was messy, like every story worth telling. We weren't supposed to see each other again. But New York is small when fate decides it wants you cornered. I ran into him at a coffee shop a week later, his suit jacket slung over a chair, tie loose, hair a little too perfect for someone claiming not to care. He grinned like he'd been expecting me. "I owe you a drink," he said. I should have said no. I should have walked out. But instead I sat down. The weeks blurred into something dangerous. Late-night texts that turned into rooftop talks. Accidental touches that weren't accidents. Arguments that cut sharp because we both cared too much. Ethan carried a bitterness I couldn't quite name, something about living in his brother's shadow. Something about expectations he never asked for. And yet, in the quiet moments, he was softer than anyone had ever been with me. He kissed me for the first time in a hidden corner of Central Park, his lips tasting like coffee and daring. I let him, even though it terrified me, because Ethan Carter was the kind of man who could ruin you. And maybe, deep down, I wanted to be ruined. But love stories aren't clean. Daniel eventually confronted me, sharp words behind polished smiles. "You think he cares?" Daniel sneered one night at the gala's follow-up dinner. "Ethan doesn't care about anyone. You're just another rebellion. He'll burn you out, like he does everything else." I wanted to believe Daniel was wrong, but Ethan didn't deny it when I asked. He just sat there, jaw tight, eyes haunted. So I left. I walked away from the man who had turned my world upside down, who made me feel seen in ways no one else ever had. I told myself it was for the best, that I deserved stability, not chaos. But the ache in my chest didn't listen. Months passed. I dated someone else. I smiled. I laughed. I pretended to move on. But every crowded room felt emptier without Ethan's smirk across it. Every hand I held felt wrong because it wasn't his. And then, one night, there was a knock on my door. Ethan stood there, rain-soaked, tux undone, eyes raw. No smirk, no arrogance, just him. "I'm sorry," he said, voice breaking. "I was scared. Scared of what you made me feel. Scared of wanting something real. But I can't," his breath hitched. "I can't not want you." I should have slammed the door. I should have told him it was too late. Instead, I pulled him inside. The kiss that followed wasn't polished, wasn't perfect. It was desperate, hungry, years of loneliness colliding in a single breath. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't about being someone's date for show or a pawn in a family drama. It was about two broken men who found something whole in each other. The city outside didn't matter. The money, the galas, the lies, they didn't matter. What mattered was the way his hand shook when he touched my face, and the way my heart finally stopped searching. Because I had found him, and he had finally stopped running. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.